Well, yeah, and just setting up quality boundaries, which you talk about, and how vital was that? Like, I'm sure too, you almost felt like an elephant was off of you. Like it
Oh
probably
yeah.
was a sense of you had more of an opportunity to breathe. Because I can only, I used empathy on that conversation that you just said, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have had that, or even still have that piece. But I think what's unique is I love how you are really, and you talk about this in your bio as well as you talk about self awareness, Tony, and you really embody that because you're right. If there's a conflict by any means, well, you're half of the issue. So you got to take some ownership as well. And I really like how you really self reflected in that situation. It was like, I I was just saying yes because that's all I knew. And when I was saying yes, I was drowning myself. And probably that also happened then have issues with your relationships, with your family. Like, I'm sure that all kind of like steamrolled as well, right? Like, would you
Oh,
agree?
oh, absolutely. I mean, I learned through that experience, even a couple years later, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And are
Mm,
you going to be okay with saying no to that something else?
wow. Wow. That's really, really well said. Yeah. Yeah. That's remarkable. So during this journey and you talked about there's four, you say, four positive fundamental mindsets that quality leaders must have. You talked about this. You talked about self awareness. You talked about acknowledging hard realities. You talked about taking intentional action. What does intentional action actually mean? What does that mean? If you were to tell someone to take some, I think you kind of said it, but can you elaborate a little bit more on the intentional action piece, Tony?
Yeah. I think you got to be clear again on what's your outcome. What outcome are you after? Right. And then why are you after that outcome? And then you figure out how I'm going to go about it. So, for example, um, say, for example, I want to release 10 pounds. That's a result. Notice I didn't say lose. Because you know
Yeah.
when you lose something, you want
Oh,
to go
that's
find it. And I don't want to find it again. So I'm going to
wow.
release it.
I like that. I like that.
Um,